Change this to the owl, meeting owl camera. Okay, then we're good.
Wow.
Okay.
Much easier than last time.
Much easier than last time. Okay, we don't need to.
It was for all our different setups that we have.
Yeah.
They give us like this.
Stacy, before I forget, Bobby wanted me to give this.
A check, yes.
That's
We have.
She's like, you'll see Stacy, and I said, so I have to.
She's like, I was like, no, I'll be there at 7 tonight. She's like, and then I get the message back going, I've given the check to Pauline.
I don't know that we'll want it, because we can give it.
If it's not in the way, we'll leave it. This is Hebrew. I'm gonna put all the Hebrew things back in my.
So those big finances are about bagels for Sunday morning. The whole, these are.
All right, I can put all of these things away. We've got more of these for next time. Okay, in my bag.
It was like very good.
Go back to my box.
Yeah. And this old like lady was walking by, and her daughter like saw it, was like, it was like, I could get like that could be yours for the low price of $25. You're selling the garbage for $25. You're disrespectful. Only 3 chromosomes away from me. My favorite decomposer right there.
Okay.
Being to last class.
This in here.
Anyone who got through college and comes from
Put this in this. That's good. And we don't need any of these other And I'm gonna pull up participants so we can see if somebody comes to that waiting room. Yeah. For 2 minutes. That last week that didn't, or 2 weeks ago, that didn't happen. Because we had issues with the Zoom.
Oh, can you send the book list?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get it a couple weeks
It
ago.
didn't, it's a link, it's a Google, you didn't get the
I
link?
didn't get the link.
I will resend it.
Oh, yeah.
I will resend it. I thought I clicked it and put it in there.
I did not
Okay.
get it.
Well, I'll resend it. I'm gonna put it, make a note right here to
I don't
resend.
think I got it either.
Yeah, was
Okay.
it sent by email, right?
It was in, yeah, with the email that had all the attachments.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
You didn't get the
I did
attachments?
not get an email.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, no.
Okay. We'll get another one, 'cause I have more attached, all the things that we do tonight, I will, send as attachments as well, and I'll do that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I could just attach the book list, but I wanted it to be a Google Doc so that people could, I wanted a Google Doc and I made it editable so that everybody can add. How are you guys? Good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it was such a good time.
Yeah.
That was the last one I had to.
So far, it's a nice
I just
cozy
want
group. Seemed like the Hebrew class was a little smaller too.
Yeah, it
Is there-
was, it was from.
I didn't, there were 22 the last time. So yeah, it was much, it was cozy. We have, okay, you're gonna want a number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Today?
Yeah, which seemed so much smaller, but because Stacy likes to report, we had 17 for Hebrew. And we're still waiting for this one, but you can count them, or I can count.
It's like it gives us an idea of how many people are
Yeah,
coming.
no, it's important. Well, and how many sign up and who really come, because there's some on each of the lists that I've never met.
Wow.
Just a couple people, but there's a couple people I've met, we have, that none of us have met, because if I haven't met them. And some people have, just not been able to come. There's a couple that, there's one young woman I met when she signed up, Rabbi introduced her to me, and I saw her at Rosh Hashanah, but she was explaining why she couldn't come. No problem,
Because sometimes it's just timing.
things happen, life gets in the way. Yeah, and there were two people who told me they couldn't be here tonight. Oh, one was from Hebrew and one was from this class.
Jeff, I think.
Jeff,
Yeah,
yeah,
I told him I would take notes.
okay. Well, I'm gonna send you, but, he told me he couldn't come, and, somebody from Hebrew told me she couldn't come, so. Yeah, so no, this is all good. 7:15, let's wait another minute or so. If anybody has any questions before we. So looking ahead, some of you have already heard this because you were here for Hebrew. We don't have class again until the 20th of October. Next week is Erev Sukkot. The following week, it's also Simchat Torah, but it's Simchat Torah and it's also Indigenous Peoples' Days. The temple is closed, even if it weren't Sukkot. So Simchat Torah. The temple will be open for Simchat Torah, but not. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Still nobody in a waiting room, so, okay. I think it is recorded, so maybe they have that option too. Then they'll have to scroll or fast forward through all of this nonsense before we get started. Or else laugh at all of our nonsense. If anybody still needs a book, if there's anybody who still doesn't have a book, looking ahead to the book, the next class, Rabbi Zohar will be teaching. The week after that will be Cantor Braun, and I will put it in the email, but she's gonna want you to read ahead for the book. So I'm gonna tell you now if anybody wants to read ahead, but I will put it in the email this week as well. She's gonna be talking about Shabbat. So even just reading the beginning couple of chapters of the book, for, I have to look at the date, because at the end of October. I do have the dates right here. So for the 27th of October to read some of that. And actually the one I'm doing the week after, I might go ahead and assign some reading this week. Okay. I'll give people plenty of time to do this, and it's a really easy book to read. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Even if it's a very cozy group, nothing wrong with that, right? Right. So we're going to talk about God tonight. And I have so many things for us to do. Because there's a lot to discuss, there's a lot to think about, and a lot for us to grapple with. Judaism, we have God everywhere in everything that we do. And yet, there's nothing in Judaism that says you must believe in God. God's there, but if we look at the word Yisrael, what does it mean? Doesn't even know what the word Yisrael means. The people of Israel, Yisrael. What is the translation of the word Yisrael? Well, here's a clue. Often when we find the El as part of a word, it relates to God. So there's going to be something that relates to God in this word.
Chosen by God.
Where we can talk about chosenness, but not the word Yisrael. No. No, also something we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a Brit covenant. We're going to talk about chosenness, but means one who struggles or grapples with God. Future verb tense, so will. What's that? The future tense will struggle and grapple with God. So God is everywhere and everything, and yet There's nothing that says we must believe X, Y, and Z about God. We can take all of these things that we're going to be talking about tonight and digest them and figure out what they mean and even reject them. As long as we not reject God, but do not believe in God after grappling and coming to something and not just saying, no, I don't believe. But why? What is that? And what is it that you don't believe in? Because maybe I don't believe in the same thing, but yet I do believe in God. Because maybe there's more to it. So we can talk about covenant, and we will. I have so many things out here that I didn't really put them in an order of how we're going to talk about them. So we can do that together. But we can talk about a covenant. So we're a covenantal people, a covenant that we have with God from the very beginning. Abraham, the first Jew, as we say, has a covenant with God. All the way to the end of Torah. We're almost at the end of the Torah cycle reading now. And even last week in the Torah, we reaffirmed, or Moses is telling all of the people to reaffirm this covenant with God. Well, what is a covenant? It's an agreement, a contract.
Yeah.
So it takes how many sides to have an agreement or a contract? Two. It's not a one-way street. It's a relationship, almost. So the first thing we'll look at is some prayers. That tells me where we're going to go with this. The first thing we're going to look at, and I don't have to share, I can put it up on the screen if you'd rather, or else I'll give you this sheet. But we don't have anyone on Zoom tonight. This is right from the prayer book. I'm sorry, the copy is light. It's because of the text in the prayer book. So there's two sides, because we're going to look at two prayers. Look, you've got some Hebrew. That's awesome. Good. Is that Duolingo?
Yeah.
I've never done Hebrew with Duolingo. I did Chinese for like a year and a half or 2 years. I was learning Chinese, and that was harder.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at two prayers that take the same spot in our prayer service in the morning and in the evening. So if we were more traditional, we could have 3 services a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. In our morning service and in our evening service, some of the prayers are the same, and some of them have the same theme, but there's a different prayer in the morning slot and a different prayer in the evening slot. We're going to look at 2 of those. We're going to be looking at, on the one side that says page 230, we're going to look at Ahava Rabbah that comes in the morning service. If you flip it over, it says at the bottom, page 150, we're looking at Ahavat Olam from the evening service. These are taken from the Shabbat morning and the Shabbat evening service, but we find these same prayers in any morning and evening service, whether it's a daily service, a Shabbat service, or High Holy Day service, any holiday service. So these 2 prayers are all about our agreement with God, our relationship with God. We'll get to learn some Hebrew too, you know, it's not Hebrew class right now, but the word ahava.
Love.
The word ahava is love. So ahava rabbah is literally a whole lot of love. Yeah. Ahavat olam, same word ahava, that tav is there at the end because olam starts with a vowel sound, and the tav is just connecting the words. Ahavat olam literally means endless love.
Mm-hmm.
So these prayers tell us that our relationship with God should be a loving relationship. God loves us. We love God. Should be, we'll talk about him again. We can grapple with what our beliefs in God and all of that, but very basically, So what is, and if you have a relationship, then you do things and you show things. So how has God shown love to us? By giving us what?
Life.
Okay. Torah.
Oh.
Life as well, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a relationship that God gave us life. But if God gave us Torah, there's a little bit more to our relationship. Because what do we find in Torah? That's our part. In Torah, we find all of these mitzvot, these commandments. So we show our love by following commandments and by being good people and taking care of each other and taking care of the world. That's how we can show our love for God, and God can show us love by bestowing these amazing things on us and allowing us to take care of the world and take care of each other. So we're not going to sit and we could read the text, but I'm going to put that aside. But I wanted you to have it because that's what this is really all about. Actually, I said I wasn't going to read it, but I'm going to just talk really quickly. Because if we look at Ahava Rabbah, the one that's 230, in the middle of that top paragraph, O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Spelled out right here. Our part of the bargain. Ahava Olam is just shorter, but it's the essence, the same thing. So that's the brit, that's this covenant. But Frankie mentioned chosenness. What does that mean if we are the chosen people? What does it mean? Yeah.
That we choose to follow God's.
I love it. Yeah, we were chosen to get this Torah, and we choose to follow. Yeah.
But we're also chosen to make the world a better place, to teach other people.
Yeah. We were chosen not because we're better or that we're like, oh, we're so great.
No.
We were chosen to make the world a better place.
Right.
To be good people. Exactly. That's how we were chosen. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to some more interesting things. We're going to do an activity. I'll give you all of what's coming ahead. And I would love to turn this off, except that they're recording the class, so it's just us. I do have more quotes. We did quotes last time, so I have quotes about God, but I'm going to hold off on those until we really figure out what we believe in God, because I want to give us as much time as we need for that. I also, I may just be giving this to you to take home, or if you'd rather, I'll be emailing it, because then everyone who's not here can get it as well. It's called The Nature of God. It's adapted from a website called Machon Mamre, and it just gives different ideas of God and with the nature of God in different Jewish sources. And it's interesting, but I'd really rather us spend our time on this. So in the Torah, God has many names. About 70 names for God within the Torah. And each one shows a different aspect of God. We're all created, as it says, coming up soon when we start this Torah cycle again, humans are created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. And what does that mean? That we can act as God acts. God shows mercy, so we can show mercy. God is just, so we should be just. God heals the sick, we should heal the sick. Okay. On and on and on. some things about God in the Torah you might not like. You might say, wow, I didn't know that. So we have a sheet here that has two sides. One has kind of aspects of God, and the font is small because there's a lot of things on here. And they're in different categories. So we've got a category, goodness, love, dreams, and ideals, and then it talks about different things about a God, different beliefs or ideals or characteristics of God. So there's a whole bunch of things on this side. On the other side, I didn't quite fit 70 on here, but there's probably about 50 different names of God. And I gave you the Hebrew as well, in case you hear some of them at services. Or you start listening for, oh, wow, I've heard that in prayer before. I didn't realize that refers to God. So what your job, and does everybody have something to write with? If not, I've got a whole bin of pencils right here. So when I come and give these out, I can do pencils as well. What I want you to do. And it also, if already, and I've done something similar with my 7th graders, and in 7th grade, a lot of them say, I don't believe in God, instantly, without even thinking about it. So if you have doubts, you can substitute the word God in these examples with love, energy, life, spirit, strength, or goodness. Or even in a prayer book, when it talks about God. If you're in a maybe today you believe in God, but tomorrow something happens and you don't. So you substitute, and I don't want to pray because I don't believe in God. We'll open the prayer book, substitute the word energy or the word spirit where it says God, and see what happens. So you can do that if you want. But what I want you to do is to cross out the ones that don't fit with your idea of God. Circle the ones that you really find a connection with, and leave all the others blank. And you do this with 7th graders who say they don't believe in God, and you have to tell them to instantly not cross everything out, but to read them. Because maybe you'll leave some blank. So again, you're going to cross off the ones on both sides. So this is going to take a little while. This is why I want to give us as much time as we need. Cross off the ones that do not fit with your beliefs today. And I put it that way because tomorrow your beliefs might change. But if they do not fit with your beliefs today, circle the ones that do, that you find a connection with, and leave all of the others blank. So I will come around with these, and also with pencils if you need a pencil.
Thank you.
Go. Find one that you like. Got a pencil. I was thinking they were gonna do a lot. Well, actually, I printed this on the copier and then it wasn't there for some reason, so I printed it again, and then I found today when I went back, they were there. So somebody else must have taken them. So I have extra copies. And I'm gonna do it too. Every time I give this activity to my 7th graders, I do it along with them.
If there's some you're neutral, we just leave them.
Leave the ones you're neutral blank. So you're gonna circle the ones you agree, you like, cross out the ones you do not believe in, or that do not align with your beliefs, leave everything else blank. And just as is, which could be everything, you'll see. Do you think a minute or two is gonna be enough, or do you want more? Some of you are ready, but some people are still grappling.
You have extra?
Oh, yeah, actually, yes, and I'm gonna be emailing it as well. Sure. Anybody else wants an extra? Yeah, it's, well,
Good
to do an extra one, yeah. Since I ended up copying double. Seventh graders will be doing this version. So I think we're gonna come back, even if you need a little bit more time, we're gonna come back together. And it's a very personal thing, so you don't have to share. But if you'd like to share either one or two that resonate with you and or one or two that really do not. Well, but again, it's a personal thing, so you don't have to share. Okay.
So I circled 4.
Okay.
That I resonated with. That where God is there, but God is silent,
Mhm,
and the beauty of nature
mhm.
represents God. 2 that I didn't connect to at all, where God talks to me and God acts through me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else want to share? Ellen. Was there one in particular of those? Or your favorite of those? God is your conscious. Okay, thank you. Was there anything that really did not speak to you? That you said, this is not my definition of God? On either side of the paper? Yeah, that's a tough one. That's, I crossed that one off as well. Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone else want to?
Who I like in the first
Okay.
album.
Tell us which ones you liked.
God acts through me,
Mm-hmm.
and God is a sense of love and joy.
Nice. Thank you. Were there any that you crossed off that you want to share?
Yeah, God is not involved in our lives. God allows bad things to happen to good people.
Mhm.
I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
And God is there, but God is silent. I don't believe he's silent. I think he's that little voice in your head.
Mm. The Gemini cricket.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll share this.
Thank you.
I was kind of the opposite. I crossed out
It's okay.
God as a sense of love and joy. And I circled God allows bad things to happen to good people.
Because all beliefs are good, you know, yeah.
Well, at work, I see a lot of freak accidents. I'm a medical examiner. So this.
Though, I didn't know that. Yeah,
There are a lot of freak accidents that happen to people. So I guess that's where this was important.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Anybody else? Yeah,
I want to sort of share like an observation and notes about myself while going through this.
that
where
would
it's
be
not, like,
great.
It's
Thank
so
you.
hard for me to personify God. So there's some things I would agree with if the language was different. Like God talks to me is something I wouldn't circle, but I can listen for God. It's different for
Ooh,
me.
I like
Because
that.
for me, God is very involved in like mathematics and string theory. And it's like if I'm tapping into this continual universal force, that's how I experience God talking to me. But I wouldn't
love it.
say that God is a person that uses words because
But it might not be. God might talk through
Right.
yeah, through different theories, or maybe God talks to you through a sunset.
And that's why I had like
Yeah.
start journaling, so I was like, oh, I have so many ifs and buts
Oh,
about
I
all of
love
this.
it. No, I love it because that's what it's all about. Right, it's in the language, like that does not work with God. Or it can, but you have to understand what it's really saying, and that's how it's speaking to you. I love it, thank you. Anything that you crossed off that you want to share?
The reward and punishment are given out in the afterlife.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know that we have afterlife in our, but we will definitely fit it in somehow, in all of our. Mason, do you want to share anything?
I circled God gave human beings free will,
Mhm.
and I really like God recreates the world continually. I had never heard that kind of idea before this. I like that idea a lot.
Well, the prayer that comes right before Ahava Rabba in the morning, Yotzer, and in the evening, right before Ahavat Olam, Ma'ariv Aravim, they both talk about the creation being renewed every day. So read those prayers,
Yeah.
because it's there every day. Yeah.
And we get that
That's-
reset like every Friday on Shabbat anyway. I guess I
But
never.
it's every day.
It's
We,
every
though
day.
we say those prayers, we can say those prayers every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah, but read the English, like a translation
Mhm.
of those two prayers, Yotzer Or in the morning and Ma'ariv Aravim in the evening. Yeah, yeah, that's your homework. Anybody else?
It's funny, because I always go back and forth, what do I really believe?
Yeah,
And I have a hard time believing that there's this figure that's God. I mean,
Mhm.
because that's just part of
Right.
something that I believe. But when something, and I say, when I circle God hears my prayers, God works miracles, because then sometimes when you need something, or you're looking for something, I feel better coming and thinking, okay, I need to focus.
Mhm.
So it's kind of that juxtaposition.
Well, but that's what we're trying to figure out, what is God?
Right.
You know, people have this vision of God looking like a person or being on some throne. And that's, to me, that's not God. To some people it might be, but to me, that's not God at all.
Mm.
And yet, within this, we
And then when I
find
look at something like God is our dream for a united humanity,
there you go.
that there's something, another way you focus. To
Yeah.
say, okay, how are we going to get
Mhm.
everybody together? What is the belief that brings everybody together?
And maybe it's not a belief, but maybe it's an energy or a
Right.
spirit.
Because that's what I said, I changed something to goodness.
Uh-huh,
Goodness is my conscience.
there you go.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it, yeah. Does anybody else want to share? Again, you don't have to share, it's very personal.
I don't think God controls every little thing we do.
Mhm.
Bad things are gonna happen
Mhm.
because we're in control, really.
People were born with free will.
There's such a thing as chance.
Yeah.
Some people have good luck
Mhm.
and some have bad, and we don't know why.
And all we can do is try to do the best that we can do,
Yeah.
but we're given free will.
That's the thing.
And if God's gonna control our actions, then why would we be
There's
given
no
free will? There's no free will,
You know,
yeah,
he can't run every little thing.
no. So one thing that I really like is that, God helps us hold ourselves up in times of trouble. Meaning that God is the strength. God's not gonna make things better for me. But if with a belief, I can find the strength I need.
Mhm.
I can't do it myself, but to me, that's one that I circle. I actually circled a lot more than I usually do. I also, on the back with names of God, I liked majestic, beautiful radiance of the universe. I just liked it a lot.
I like that
But-
one because it makes me think about cosmic background radiation
Mhm.
and like in space, like it's all the noise that's out there in the emptiness. And so
Yeah.
like the radiance of God, I think it's like this
It's-
stuff that's encompassing. It's like
That's-
the
yeah.
dust of everything.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Hashem.
It's good.
Neutral.
And you can read it now.
Hmm?
And you can read it in Hebrew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I see a lot of darkness
Mm,
and
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
realize.
it's-
Yeah.
it's still somehow God.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's necessary to exist to appreciate the better things.
That's great, thank you. I appreciate that.
What is the name Yahweh?
If we take the letters of God's name, Yud He Vav He in Hebrew, those are the names of God. We never pronounce those letters when they're in Torah. We read the Torah and God's name would be Yud He Vav He. But we don't pronounce them. We say Adonai. Whenever if I'm chanting Torah and I see Yud He Vav He, I'm going to be saying Adonai. That's coming out of my mouth. There are those who try to pronounce Yud He Vav He, and they would come out with something like that. But for all kinds of reasons, and one being we don't want to disrespect and mispronounce God's name, but we don't try to. We don't know the vowels that would really be with those. But also the letters Yud, He, Vav, and He don't have a lot of substance to them. They're almost like a little breath. The Yud, Yi, the He, the Vav, and another He together. They're more breath than solid letters to try and pronounce. And of course, it's a verb. The letters Yud, He, Vav, He come from this verb to be, which has no present tense in Hebrew, but it has a future and a past. And we take those letters. And one time when God, asking God's name, God says, I am, I will be what I will be. Asher Yeh. So, I'm kind of, I am what I am, or I will be what I will be, comes from this verb to be.
I believe God's the source of life. I like that because I believe in evolution. And when you look at proteins, for one thing, mathematically, it's astronomical that they could assemble themselves. And so maybe that's how it
God.
all started.
Yeah, I like that. So this is the kind of thing that sometimes is good to redo and re-look at often. And I will be emailing it, so you'll have a fresh, if you want a fresh copy here, but otherwise I'll be emailing it, so you'll have it. But we are going to look at quotes because I do like quotes. And there's not that many of us here today, so maybe we don't even need to get into small groups. We can just all stay together and read some of these quotes about God or relating to God. Some of them are more about God, and some of them are just, well, you'll see as we go through them. Okay, so we'll start at the very beginning, which you'll see the very first quote comes from Genesis 1, the sheet right at the beginning. And who would like to read it? We'll just all stay together and read them. Thank you.
God now said, let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness. So God created the human beings in the divine image, creating them in the image of God, creating them male and female.
B'Tselem Elohim. We'll just keep reading until we get to something that someone really wants to kind of look at more in depth. I don't.
When God says, let us, why?
Yeah, it's a question that people have been asking for thousands of years. The word Elohim, another name for God, Elohim, is plural. It's got a plural ending at the end. But what does that mean? Is it like a royal we? Or is it an acknowledgement that all the other peoples at the time had so many gods, but we only have one, but let's give God a plural name so that people would understand? Or is it that here, the plural, not Elohim as God, but when it says us here, is that plural that all of the divine beings, the angels were
Yeah.
together with God? There's,
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing, when we're looking at Torah and there is no one answer. It's the beauty of this. People for thousands of years have been trying to understand Torah. We're still trying to understand Torah. And everybody's interpretation is correct. Because it's an interpretation of Torah. It's not that this is how you must believe, that this is how it is. But yes, it is written in the plural.
When he been with his angels and they didn't have.
Well, some people say that it was God and angels, others say that it's like a royal we, others say, yeah, I mean, God is so much energy, how could it just be singular?
I feel like, to me, the creation of human beings is collaborative because human beings have choice.
Yeah.
So we're also making human beings.
So maybe the plural is God and people
Us,
together. Oh, I like that. That's good, yeah.
Well, and for me, I think I tend to flip it in my mind of, did we create God in our image, or did God create us in their image? Because our minds are limited. And I think for me, I understand a lot of religion and spirituality as a pursuit of this ego death that lets us surpass our own intellect.
Yes.
And people are always trying to use substances or religion or experiences to surpass our own intellect, but we can't. So we have no choice but to create God in our own image and to assume that the opposite is true in order to pursue this expansion that may or may not ever happen.
Yeah. But but is
gives
it
us divine meaning?
because how else can we understand without putting right. Thank you. Okay, let's look at the next one and see what we come up with. Who wants to read the second one?
Oh, I can read it.
Okay.
The whole world of humans, animals, fish, and birds all depend on one another. All drink the earth's water, breathe the earth's air, and find food in what was created on earth. All share the same destiny. What happens to one happens to all.
Any thoughts?
That really resonates with me. I feel like the concept of a soul is something I've really struggled with throughout life. I'm a big animal lover. I have lots of rescue cats.
Yay.
And I really, try my best not to harm the insects and things like that, for me. And something that I can struggle with is this idea that souls are only for humans, not they're reserved for humans.
And yet there are places in Judaism that will say that everything has a spark of God, not just humans.
I feel like you see that, right, when you're really paying attention. And I just feel like we've inherited the earth from our ancestors, so we should really be taking care of it in such a way because we're only borrowing it. So that resonates.
Yeah, it kind of goes along with one of the quotes from last time we had about the generations before, the current generations are all working for and have to realize we have to preserve things for the next generation coming up.
Yeah.
And that kind of fits with all of this because we're all part of this one big collective.
Right. Right.
The most literal sense,
Mm-hmm.
I guess to me, it's postmortem decomposition and postmortem animal creation. Same thing happens to human bodies as to everyone else.
We're gonna all turn to dust. From dust we came, and from dust we will be. We all
literally
decompose.
like a super dry decomposed body, you touch it, if
Mhm.
it was like not moved,
Yeah.
it's dust, it just dissipates.
From,
That was
from,
cool when I first saw it.
that is, that's very cool, but that's very, very Torah, like from dust you
Yeah,
came
and
and
it's literally what happens.
that's,
Right, but
yeah, no, that's very cool, because it is, it's,
Oddly comforting.
it is oddly, absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna give you a choice, we can either go in order, or I can just, whoever wants, you can pick one that you wanna read, whether we go in order or out of order.
I think we should keep going in order.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're on the third one. Nice to read. It's a nice short one.
I'll read it.
Thank
God
you.
shall be for you an eternal light.
So what about this one?
I mean, for me, light is the source of all life.
Mm-hmm.
And on earth, we get light for half the day.
Mhm.
Especially, you know, when this was being written without electricity and things, like
Oh,
when the
yeah.
sun went down, that was it. But the idea of God being always light, always a producer of light and warmth and hope. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's good.
That is, yeah.
That kind of goes back to what you said in the first class about like so much light with the face, like earthing.
Exactly. That's the light of God that can't be contained, and it's out there. But I also think sometimes we all get so weighed down with things, and we close ourselves off and we hide in this little cave inside of ourselves without light. And yet, when you stop and you breathe, there's always going to be light somewhere, because we all have this spark of God within us. We just have to let it out or find it, because it's hidden. And sometimes when life gets too overwhelming, it gets really hidden, and you start praying, or maybe don't start praying, but that's maybe when the time for it to start growing. What about the next one? Which we actually read last time.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
read it again. Be holy, for I, the eternal, your God, am holy. And what I get from that is we're
Mhm.
created in God's image.
Mhm.
So,
If God's holy, then we have to be holy.
yeah.
Yeah, so this comes from the holiness code that we read last time. This is part of the start of it. Most of Leviticus, it's not, it starts actually at the end of chapter 18, but most of chapter 19 is part of this holiness code. And if God is holy, then yeah, we have to be holy. Of course, that's a whole nother discussion of what does that mean, but we'll save that. What about the next one? It's from Psalm 27, which we actually were looking at part of Psalm 27 in Rosh Hashanah. This is a different part of Psalm 27 than what we read on Rosh Hashanah. But let's, Richard.
It says, hope in God, be strong and of good courage, and hope in God.
For me, all three of these kind of go together,
Mhm.
in a very literal sense of particle physics. So, which there's a theme, as you can tell.
I can tell, my older son is a physicist.
So the idea that all matter is both a wave and a particle, which means that everything is technically light, it is in flux all the time. And I know, we talk about like in addiction medicine, like isolation, and how the opposite of addiction is connection.
Mm.
And so when people are feeling bad or tend to isolate, they kind of shut themselves off from the eternal light or that
Mhm.
eternal particle.
Right.
And through 12-step programs and other things where it's kind of opening yourself up to spirituality, it's really realizing I am that light and I'm part of it, and I
Mhm.
can pretend that I'm not part of it, but
Right.
you, at the end of the day, you have to like look around and go, no, I am both a wave and a particle, and I have
Thank
to
you.
tap back in to the flow of things.
Love
And so
it.
like having
Thank you.
the courage to
Mhm.
to leave that isolation is like where that leads to that last one.
Thank you.
Why would the hope in God have to be repeated?
Oh, there's so much repetition in in Torah. This is the Psalms, which is an extension of Torah, or part of the bigger, some people call all of Jewish teaching Torah, but here it's telling you to be strong and to have courage, but don't forget to hope in God is not enough. You're hoping in God, but you also have to be strong, you have to be courageous. And don't forget to hope in God. Maybe, I don't know, you're open to interpretation by anyone, but repetition is important. We, that's often how we remember things better when they're repeated.
For me, I think it's all, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, there's just so much repetition in Torah, sometimes right after each other or somewhere farther. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that be strong and of good courage, those are like, that's you doing things on your own, but hope in God is kind of leaning towards this higher power. So it's like sandwiched between, because it's like, do your own thing, be strong by yourself, but also like lean on me too.
Ooh, I like the sandwich part, yeah. That's good,
I was
yeah.
curious if the translation of hope in God is different in the Hebrew too, in both of those places.
All right.
Oh, it's the same.
Because it could be a different hope in God version for each one.
Well, we can find that. We're gonna go to Safaria. Oops, have you been to Safaria before? So if we go to Safaria, and I'm not sharing my screen because there's no one really to share it with, it's just us. So we want to go to the Psalms. Okay, there we go. The Psalm 27. Where are you? Wait, it's not, it's before, there it is, Psalms 27. Okay, I think it's this is the end of 27, if I'm not mistaken. Only because I looked it up when I was, I don't know them all offhand, but I was checking the language to make sure that it was, here it is. So the Hebrew says, Keva el Adonai chazak ve'ematz libcha ve'kaveh el Adonai. So kaveh is like in the straight like path, like a keva is keeping this straight this path, like a kivun is your direction that you're going. So keep your path towards God. Chazak is strong. The ematz is your courage. The ematz libcha is ometz lev is your courage. So in your heart. The kaveh, it's exact same word. El Adonai. You can see, even if you can't read the Hebrew, you can see that it's the same letters. Kaveh, and here it says vikaveh is and, this is and. So otherwise, it's exactly the same Hebrew. Oh no, this is kaveh to hope. Comes from tikva, vikaveh, not kavanah. I must be really tired. So all of the recording now, they're gonna laugh at me because I mistranslated. Kavanah is in kivun is your direction towards God. Keva is like hatikva, kava, from the hope, from hope. And so here it's saying, because it confused me, because this says hope and this says look, and I'm tired. So I apologize to anyone listening to the recording that I messed up. But like hatikva, this is your hope. Okay. And I apologize for my, where is our Zoom chat? Not that there's anybody there. Okay. Well, if I make a mistake, I'm gonna own up. I'll tell you that I made a mistake. Unless I don't realize it, then I would apologize once I realized it. All right, where are we? Let's look at this next one from the Rambam. Okay.
When we begin to speculate on a subject so vast and important as the nature of God, we must not decide any question by the first idea that suggests itself to our minds, or force our thoughts to obtain a knowledge of the Creator too quickly. But we must wait patiently and modestly advance step by step.
Thank you. So what does anyone think of this one?
We have free will, we have the ability to decide and take our time deciding, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like that, absolutely. And just like, well, the activity we did before, step by step, we're gonna figure out our own definition, our own, maybe not definition, but our own, way of looking at God, and who, what, how God is. Because maybe who is the wrong question, maybe we need a how or a what. I like the step by step. I think everything we do has to be like baby steps to get there, so that we understand what we're doing, and also some things are overwhelming. And the only way we can do it is little step by step. Reading Hebrew, we go letter by letter, step by step.
It kind of ties into the whole of the bagel from this week, where we talked about the psychological perspective of sin and forgiveness.
Okay.
We're talking about if you send an email that might not be the best worded and you send it without thinking, that could be a sin. And then if you wait 90 minutes and then send the email, you might not send it at all. And it kind of makes me think about like the conversation of, is our impulse nature our godlike nature, or is it the one that you wait for later on? Is that where God comes in when you've actually had inner peace or whatever?
When you have that, so this comes from Musar. We talked a little Musar last time, when you're looking at patience in Musar. And you're trying to lengthen this time between the match that you hold here and the fuse that's over there. Because if you do it right here, oh, everything, yeah, I send that email right now. But if I can lengthen that time, maybe I'll never send it. Yeah, patience. We all, step by step, you can work on patience. How about the next one?
Does it really matter to God whether one slaughters an animal across the throat or across the back of the neck? No, is his unreported reply. Rather, the mitzvah were given to the purpose of refining human beings.
So is it the actual letter of the law that we must abide by, every mitzvah, every fine point, every interpretation like this, and do it like this? Or is it the essence so that we become better people?
But there's a reason for that in the law, because you're not to cause pain to the animal.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes, but that's why that is the law, absolutely.
Because the back
But-
of the neck, they
What
No.
I get
wouldn't
from
bleed
that,
to death, yeah.
well, what I get from that is that it doesn't really matter to God, like whether we follow the rules or not.
Mhm.
Like, he's already set them, it doesn't really matter, it's like you said, it's teaching us to be mindful of other people's and animals' pain.
Yes,
That's what matters.
Right.
It's not the literal action that you're doing.
right, it's not like the law is telling you do this because I'm telling you to do this, you're doing it for a reason,
Yes.
because of the
Teaches
animal.
something.
You're doing it to become better human beings and better caretakers of animals and the world.
To have
And each other.
compassion on other beings.
Yes, yes,
Even like a small act of compassion can, like, it adds up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, let's do one more and then we'll do a time check. Actually, we'll do a time check now. It's 8:13, so we'll do one more and then we'll see if you want to do more than that. Let's read the Anne Frank.
The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere where they can be quite alone with the heavens, nature, and God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. As long as this exists, and it certainly always will, I know that then there will always be comfort for every sorrow. And I firmly believe that nature brings solace in all troubles. I really like that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's do one more. Flip through quickly, and when somebody sees one that they love, then that's the one it's gonna be. Whoever picks the one and wants to read the one that they love, then we'll talk about it.
Judaism was, and to this day remains, unique in its combination of universalism and particularism. We believe that God is the God of all humanity. God created all. God is accessible to all. God cares for all. God has made a covenant with all. Yet there is also a relationship with God that is unique to the Jewish people. It alone has placed its national life under God's direct sovereignty. It alone has risked its entire being on a divine covenant. It alone testifies in its history to the presence within it of a presence beyond it.
Thank you. And I'm gonna give you this, when I tell you about the nature of God, that you can look at on your own. And I'll be emailing all of this stuff as well, because we have people who aren't here. And then you can, however you prefer to keep things, whether the paper or the PDF form. And again, we do not have class again until the 20th of October, and then Rabbi Zohar is scheduled to teach that. We'll say goodbye to the recording. Thank you for joining us.